Today, we're diving into this epic, invisible battle that's happening all around us, every single second. It's a story about three fundamental forces: gravity, air resistance, and of course, friction.
So let's just jump right in. What really happens when the relentless pull of a planet, the cushion of its atmosphere, and the simple grip of surfaces all collide? Well, the answer shapes literally everything, from how a single leaf falls from a tree to why a meteor burns up in a blaze of glory across the night sky.
To really understand this whole battle, we've got to start with the biggest player in the game, the one that's always on, always pulling, no matter what. I want you to picture this: a meteoroid, just silently hurtling through the vacuum of space, headed right for our planet. Before it even gets close to our atmosphere, it's already been caught in this invisible net that's pulling it in faster and faster.
That invisible net? That's gravity. You can think of it as the cosmic glue holding our moon in this perfect dance around the Earth. And, maybe most importantly for us, it's the only thing that keeps the very air we breathe from just drifting off into space. It's an incredibly powerful, life-sustaining force.
And here's the wild part: gravity is unbelievably consistent. Here, near Earth's surface, it pulls on everything, and I mean everything, with an acceleration of 9.8 meters per second squared. So what does that actually mean? It means for every single second something falls, it gets faster by another 9.8 meters per second. And that number, it applies to everything. It doesn't matter if it's big or small, heavy or light.
Now imagine for a second, we could just get rid of everything else. In a perfect vacuum, with absolutely no air, something incredible happens. You take a heavy brick and a light little leaf, and they fall at the exact same speed. They would hit the ground at the exact same moment. That right there is a perfect demonstration of gravity's pure pull. It's called a free fall. But of course, that's not the world we live in, is it?
And that brings us to the second force in our story. This is the one that really complicates things, the one that pushes back against gravity's constant pull. Yep, I'm talking about air resistance. You've definitely felt this force. Just stick your hand out of a moving car window and you'll know exactly what it is. At its core, it's just friction with the air, and its entire job is to slow things down by pushing against whatever's moving.
But see, air resistance isn't a constant force. It kind of plays by its own set of rules. The faster you go, the harder it pushes back. The wider your object is, the bigger its surface area, the more air it has to shove out of the way, and the stronger the resistance gets. It's a dynamic force that's always changing with the situation.
So let's go back to our brick and our leaf. In the real world, the reason the leaf kind of flutters down so gracefully while the brick just plummets is all because of air resistance. The leaf's wide, flat surface acts like a tiny parachute, catching a ton of air. Meanwhile, the dense, narrow brick just slices right through it with much less trouble.
And what about our meteoroid? Well, as it slams into our atmosphere at unbelievable speeds, air resistance becomes something else entirely. It becomes a planetary defense system. The air in front of it just can't get out of the way fast enough. It gets compressed so violently that it heats up to thousands of degrees, literally hotter than the surface of the sun, and it incinerates most of the meteoroid in that fiery streak we call a shooting star. Air resistance basically saves the day.
Okay, on to our third and final force. This is the one we deal with every single day, with every step we take, every move we make.
We're talking about friction. If air resistance is friction with the air, this is the friction between solid surfaces. You know when you try to push a heavy box across the floor? That stubborn force you have to fight against? That's friction. And it's also what brings that box to a stop the second you let go.
And friction, well, it's a real double-edged sword. On one hand, we absolutely couldn't live without it. It's the grip that lets you walk without slipping and sliding all over the place. It's what allows your car's brakes to work. But on the other hand, it's a constant pain. It causes parts and machines to wear down, and get this, in a typical car, friction can eat up about 20% of the engine's power before that power even gets to the wheels.
So if it's causing all these problems, you gotta ask, what have we actually done to fight back against friction?
Well, turns out we've gotten pretty clever about it over the years. We use things like wheels and ball bearings to change that inefficient rubbing into much smoother rolling. We apply lubricants, like oil and grease, to create this super thin, slick layer between surfaces. And in some really cool cases, like with a hovercraft, we practically eliminate friction by riding on a cushion of air.
But fighting friction is only half the story. Because sometimes the goal isn't to reduce it at all. Sometimes you want to maximize it.
Because, let's be honest, without friction, there's no control, there's no grip. A world without it would be absolute chaos. So a lot of the time, we're actually engineering things to create as much friction as possible.
Just think about tire treads, for example. Those grooves aren't just for looks. They're brilliantly designed to pump water out from underneath the tire, making sure that rubber stays in contact with the road for maximum grip. Or a skydiver who literally uses their body as a brake, going into a spread eagle position to maximize air resistance and control how fast they fall. Even a rock climber putting chalk on their hands, that's all about absorbing every last drop of sweat to get the most friction possible between their skin and the rock.
So when you really put it all together, you start to see that our world is shaped by this constant, silent conflict, this invisible battle.
Gravity's always pulling down, air resistance is always pushing back against things that move, and friction is always there, either helping us grip or trying to slow us down. Every single moment of every day is this invisible negotiation between these amazing forces, and it dictates how everything in our world works.
So I'll leave you with this question. As you go about the rest of your day, which of these forces are you going to notice first? Will it be the reassuring grip of your shoes on the pavement, the feeling of the wind pushing against you as you walk, or maybe just that simple, undeniable fact that no matter what goes up must come down?